Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today, as well as reading meditations, which I often do on this channel. And I was just going through the meditations for today. I have 3 different books that I'm going to read from. These are the ones that I have not read for today. I kind of saved them for this video. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I have 5 or 6 books that I consistently read on this channel on a regular basis. And I don't know which ones I read last year, which ones are overlaps. So I'm thinking about, I just was thinking, I'll wait till the beginning of the year and then I'll get all new books. And then I'll know, like, going through maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just do that, you know, and wait till the beginning of the year. But I was thinking that I would go and I would buy all new meditation books, and then I would just use those for a year, and then I would know that I wasn't going to repeat those, and then the next year I would get new ones, because there's so many fantastic meditation books out there. There's so many good ones for different reasons. And the other night, I was looking for this old one that I had, and I have a couple that are good for, like, at the end of the day, like going to sleep. But this was one of my favorite ones, and I actually looked, and I think it was published in 1986. Yeah, 1986. And it's by Amy Dean, and it's called Nightlight, a book of nighttime meditations, and it's from Hazelden, which is like the hub of recovery in the United States. And they have, if you get online and you look up Hazelden publications, there are tons and tons and tons of recovery things. There's like whole books just dedicated to like emotional sobriety and relationships and sobriety, and it's a fantastic publication. So anyway, on the back here it says, this meditation classic gives us a serene, reassuring thought before retiring. Nightlight's quotations, reflections, and simple prayers can ease the loneliness, fear, and anxiety that can burden our nights. Hazelden meditation books have set the standard for quality and popularity. Read daily by millions. They offer support and guidance for maintaining an emotionally and spiritually balanced life. Not that this is sponsored, because it's not, obviously, but this is one of my favorites, and I couldn't believe I found it so easily. So, September 13th, The Cure for Grief is Motion. Albert Hubbard. Anniversaries of death, separation, and loss are difficult times. We can be feeling fine one month, and then suddenly feel tremendous sadness, pain, and anger during the next. A quick look at our calendars may reveal a reason for our feelings, for we may have experienced something particularly trying at that time. It's okay to relive an event and our feelings about it, as long as we don't wallow in the past or try to use the event as a reason for all our present difficulties. I just texted Mel, my booktube, my book club co-partner, that's her probably. Grieving is a process that can proceed only when we are in motion. How do we get in motion? We can imagine we're sitting in a small room of horrible smelling cigar smoke. We can sit there and feel uncomfortable or even nauseous, or we can leave the room. That's how we get in motion, by simply getting up and moving. Tonight I can move out of my chair of painful memories. I can think of ways to get in motion and cure these sad feelings. Then I can relax and have a peaceful night's sleep. Such a great meditation, isn't it? You know, and I know, like, I have friends of mine that, Boo Radley is going crazy right now. Hold on a second, what's going on, boo-boo? He said, well, I want to be up with my brother Tucker, or I want to be up there with you guys. I have been trying to figure out what kind of animal Boo Radley looks like since his haircut. And this morning, we were all laying in bed, weren't we? We were all just laying around in bed, and all of a sudden his head popped up, and I was like, oh my God, it's Meerkat Manor. He looks like a meerkat, doesn't he? But he's so very sweet and gentle. He said, Dad, I don't want to be on video today. Okay, you go over here with your brother Tucker, and you guys hang out over there on the ottoman. I have friends, he said, nope, I'm jumping down. I have friends of mine that, he's right here. He says, I want my neck rubbed. I have friends of mine that celebrate, like, the death dates of their family members, or, you know, whatever. And I understand that, and I respect that for those people that do that. But I saw this Oprah years and years and years ago. It was one of her aha moments. And it was this woman that had come on, and she was talking to Dr. Phil about her daughter who had been murdered. And she just could not get past the day that she was murdered. She kept on reliving that day over and over and over again, right? And Dr. Phil looked at her, and at the end, she shared, like, she had this total aha moment. You could see it in her eyes, and that was why Oprah had included it in her aha moments. And if I can find it, I'll put it, I'll link it underneath in this video. But she said at the end that her plan had been to come on and tell her story, and then she was gonna go home and take her life. And he was like, but you don't have to do that anymore. And she said, oh, no. I mean, you could just tell she was overcome. She had seen something, you know? I think those aha moments are in all of us on a daily basis if we just search for them, you know? And what he said to her on there was so helpful for any grief that I have gone through, whether it was a grief of a relationship or the grief of, you know, the passing of my mother or my aunt, my uncle, or friends of mine. I've lost so many friends, you know. And what he said on there was, he said to her, because she kept the room exactly the same as she had been like when she died, and it had been like 18 years or something. And he said, would she be happy that you kept the room the same way? And she said, no, she'd be very, very upset with me. And he goes, you know, instead of celebrating the one day that she died, because she died when she was 18, I think, he said, could you instead maybe focus on the 18 years that she was alive, because she was this vibrant human being? Totally changed my perspective. That we focus so much on the tragedy that occurred instead of the life that somebody lived. I don't want to be remembered for the one day that I go out. I want to be remembered for the life that I've lived. The interactions that I had, the laughter that I had with people, the jokes that I told, you know, the really deep moments that we shared. That's what I want to be remembered for, not the one day that I went out, you know? And I think that it's an important lesson, you know, and not focusing on that. And I think that when we get stuck in all of that, sometimes it's hard. You know, it's hard when you're stuck in the middle of grief. And I'm somebody that believes you take your time, you know. But at any time that you want to get up and move through that door, like it said in the meditation, you have a right to do that, you know. And you can say, I don't want to be stuck in this anymore. I just don't. And you put one foot in front of the other. And that's how I've learned, you know, that by living, you grow. By living, and what's our alternative, you know? What is our alternative? You're not going to eat anymore. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to go to work. You're just going to stop. Well, I think there's many days that we feel that way. I cannot go on. I almost think, and I know that there are going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on this, but like, when you have a huge fight with somebody that has been a friend of yours for a long time, or Tucker is literally running back and forth and Boo Radley is kicking at this ring light. They are wild children today. Meerkat, he's gonna jump over here, ready? Watch. It's coming. He wants to be up here. Come on, Boo Radley. You're wanting to be all around today, aren't you? Okay, so I think that, you know, the thing is, that now I'm completely distracted. I have to get refocused. Hold on a second. Welcome to my life. This is my life. These are the joys that go along with having 3 little puppy dogs, but I wouldn't trade a minute of it for anything, you know? But I think the thing is that it's almost harder when you go through like the breakup of a friendship or the breakup of a relationship. I think because that person is out there and they are continuing to live their life, and they are continuing to go on, and they're continuing to thrive and having a life, right? You know, even when your friends say to you, well, they're not really happy. You can tell, you know, oh, that new woman that they're with on Instagram, they're not really happy in the Turks and Caicos or on the beach in Mexico, laying out there taking romantic walks. No, they're not happy at all. Well, how do you know that? They probably are, you know? That doesn't make our situation feel any better, but let's just be honest with ourselves. We're grieving the loss of that. And I think it's really, really hard. You know, when you lose a friend and it's like you're not talking to them any day and you see them go on and thrive, and that's hard. That's really painful, you know? I think sometimes the finality of death is easier than having a breakup, especially a romantic relationship where you can see things go on. You know, I've suggested to people in the past that have asked me, they're like, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, just cut them off social media wise, because it's too painful to see that. It's too painful to see somebody's Instagram and their life continue to go on, and, you know, and all this kind of stuff. It's hard. It's really, really hard, you know? I don't know, but I think sometimes, you know, the only thing that we have that we can do is put one foot in front of the other and continue to live. So I think it's a great meditation. All right, so let's read from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty. September 13th, surrender to your feelings. Sometimes we think being strong means not giving up to our emotions, but that's not strength. That's denial and resistance. Amen. Real power comes from being vulnerable enough to feel whatever we feel. Keep going, we tell ourselves. Don't give in. This will pass. But the only way to pass through, I love this meditation already. The only way to pass through these times is by feeling what we feel. The longer we fight and resist our emotions, the longer the situation will continue that is triggering them. We may not see the lesson until we feel the feeling. We may not see the issue, the next step, the way out, or the way through until we give in, feel our emotions, and release them. It's not enough to talk about them, although that will help bring them into consciousness, into the light of day. But talking about our feelings is different from surrendering to and feeling the emotional energy. Feel the feeling, then release it. Now your soul and the universe can move you forward into new circumstances, into growth. An issue to work on, such as freedom, forgiveness, acceptance, love, or valuing some part of ourselves or our lives, may naturally and automatically emerge. This is such a beautiful meditation. If we pay attention to the process by which we grow, we will clearly see that each step of the way, feeling our feeling, accepting it, and then releasing it, trigger the next step of growth. Soon we will see that we are learning a new lesson. We are on our way again. There is magic in allowing our feelings to pass through us, magic in giving in. There is power more than we think in being vulnerable enough to feel what we feel. I remember in the early days when my mom passed away, before I got numb, these meditations, I must just be ready to just be emotional, you know? I kind of today love those days. Where is Durrell? He is so sweet. He is like laying back here. Today, you know, like I love those days of just feeling full of emotion, because I know that it's not just all sadness, it's joy as well. And I'm somebody that becomes overcome and overwhelmed with joy in a way that I never was able to feel that. You know, I think probably people think that I was like the super emotional kid and that I cried all the time and stuff. It's funny, and if you hear my dad tell stories, he'll say Peter wasn't real emotional as a kid at all. Like, he hardly ever cried. He didn't, you know, he wasn't a spoiled brat. He didn't scream and yell and stuff like that. And I don't know, like, I think that I was scared. I think I was of my own shadow. I was quiet and whatever. And I think then when my mom died, I became numb. And after a while, I became numb. And then when I came back into the rooms of recovery, you know, I got honest with myself about my feelings and my emotions and what I was feeling. And I was angry and I was hurt and I was sad and I was lonely. And I was pissed at God. Why my mom, you know? And then I worked through gratitude, and I realized that there's a lot of people out there that have lost a whole lot more, 100 times, 100,000 times, a million times more than I will ever learn. And I had 35 years with my mom, you know, that's saying a lot. But those early days, I can remember getting to the point where I would, like, a song would come on the radio. I listened to iTunes a lot, you know, and my mom loved Bob Dylan, and she loved Judy Collins, and Led Zeppelin, and the Grateful Dead, and, you know, Neil Young. And so in my iTunes, a song like Mr. Tambourine Man would come on, you know. And at first, I would just change the song. I would just not even want to move through, but move on. And then I don't even know, there was one day, and I just pulled the car over, and I just sat back, and I just let myself bawl my eyes out. I just listened to the song all the way through, and I just let myself bawl. We're just gonna let it play out. Okay, I got a phone call. This is the most disruptive this channel has ever been today, with the difference between the dogs and getting text messages and the dogs wanting to be, this is a crazy, peaceful video, but I do feel very serene today. But, you know, I don't know what it was about that day that I was able to just pull over and listen to the song and allow myself to feel the emotions. And, you know, after that, what I did was, when I felt like I needed to be emotional or I was feeling a certain way, I would turn on a movie, you know? I would turn on movies that have always made me feel emotional, like My Dog Skip, or The Color Purple, or, you know, Out of Africa, or To Kill a Mockingbird. And I would allow myself to just wail and cry and feel these long emotions, you know? My mom, you know, like, I had one of those DVDs for the funeral that had pictures of her that would play and had this real sadly music in the background, you know? And I would just watch this DVD over and over and over again until I didn't need to watch it anymore. But I allowed myself to sit in it and feel it. I allowed myself to really feel that loss and that grief until I was ready to move through it. And, you know, today, when I'm having a day, I allow myself to feel it. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to have feelings. I think we're told in society so much, stop crying, man up, you know, be tough, all this kind of stuff. And not just for men, but for women too, you know? It's like, we're not allowed to show an emotion. Showing an emotion is weakness. Well, I don't believe that. I believe that showing an emotion is getting in touch with who you are and allowing yourself to be strong enough to share that with yourself and the world. So I will never back down from sharing my emotions, ever, you know, and showing my emotions and being emotional. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not embarrassed of it. It's part of who I am. And I'm proud today to say that I'm so connected to myself inside that I'm able to be okay with that. Because there was a time that I wasn't, you know. So anyway, allow yourself to feel your feelings. And that's not just sad and being sad and angry either, okay? That's being happy. That's being full of joy. Like, I think sometimes when we talk about our emotions, we always think about the sad ones, the anger, the hurt feelings. We don't also talk about the really positive emotions, you know, of joy and all that kind of stuff. So there's hundreds of emotions out there. You can look online and just say a list of emotions and it'll come up with emotions, you know. Back in the day when I would run groups, like the counselors and I, we would say, you know, like, today I choose to feel. And I'm very much a believer in that I can choose how I feel on a daily basis. And how I'm feeling today, if I want to change that, I can start my day over whenever I want. I can look at what's going on and I can go, I'm not going to allow this to have power over me today. Or maybe I do choose to feel a little sad today. You know, maybe I do choose to feel a little reflective today. Maybe I do choose to feel a little angry today. And maybe I have a right for it, you know, justifiable anger. Or maybe I choose to feel peaceful today. Or maybe I choose to feel happy today. But when I realize that I do have some choice over my feelings and the things that happen to me, you know, and I can look at my choices in my life and I can look at the choices of my emotions as well, what I realize is I don't have to have my emotions completely take over who I am, and that I can live each day. And if I have an emotion that is overwhelming to me, I can sit back, I can stop, I can evaluate it, and I can say, you know what? I'm not in the mood to feel angry today. Like, I want to let that go. And then maybe sit down, read a meditation, do a little prayer work, you know, call my sponsor or whatever, you know, call a friend and say, lift my spirits up. I'm pissed right now, okay? Can I talk to you? Can I vent? 9 times out of 10, after I vent and I get it out of my system, I feel a little bit better, you know? So I don't know. There's a lot of tools that I have today, and if I don't want to feel that emotion, I don't have to. I can do the work and move through it and, you know, get to the other side. But it is important for me to feel emotions sometimes instead of just hiding them and pushing them away. That's not healthy either, you know? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.